Hello my fellow book nerds. In this video I'm going to give you guys my quarantine list of books to read by genre. So there's going to be a ton of genres and I didn't even count how many books there are, but we're going to go through them quick, so this should be a short video. And if you have any books that you think should be added, let me know down below. I chose the ones that were best and that I hopefully haven't mentioned before. I was really trying hard for that because, well, I already mentioned those books. I don't want to mention them again, but we'll see. We'll see. I'll put a photo of the book here. So let's get started. So first genre is action and adventure, which is Fahrenheit 451. If you've read that book, oh, it is so good. Like, honestly, when I first thought, when they first told me about the book, I was like, I didn't know what it was about. And then finally, when I read it, I was completely shocked, and I thought it was such an amazing book about firemen and burning books and how it's such a horrible thing for burning books. So highly recommend Fahrenheit 451. Children's books. Pretty sure I haven't mentioned this one. It's The Giver by Lois Lowry. I believe so. Such a good book. I remember this book specifically because it was taken away from me when I was in school and reading it, and my teacher took it away from me. But besides that, it's a really good book. So it was better than homework. So I highly recommend that book. It is such an interesting, different world that I never would have imagined. So it's been made into a movie. Personally, I think the movie sucks, but the book is great, so I highly recommend the book. Classics. There's so many classics, so this was hard to choose, but I chose Moby Dick because I just love the idea of adventure and the craziness in that book and the different characters. Oh, it's just such a good book. Definitely recommend that book, Moby Dick, written by, can't say his name. Yes, I can. Herman Melville. I suck at names. Coming of age book, If I Stay, by Gayle Forman. This book, I thought it was good. I don't think it's amazing, but I think it's good. I mean, girl falls in love, but then she's in an accident, so she's in a coma, and she's kind of wondering, like, it's that, like, transcendental, I'm saying that word wrong, where she's trying to figure out if she should stay or if she should go. So you hear out, like, the parents, you hear out her boyfriend and all these things. It's very interesting. She's kind of like a ghost in it. It's really interesting. And then there's the next one too. I don't remember what the next one's called, but it's an okay book. I don't think it's amazing, but I think it's pretty good. Drama. This book, I was shook by it, literally. It's The Kite Runner, if you have read that book. Wow, it was, I have it right here actually. Kite Runner by, I'm not even gonna try, Khalid Hosseini. I don't know, but it is, I was so shocked by it. It's about, how can I even explain it? I could just read the back. It doesn't have the back. You know, I hate, is it just me, or I hate now that they put nothing about the book. They put just like recommendations from people, and I don't really care about them. I care about what the book is about. So why would they do that? Wow, that is really annoying. But whatever. Such a good book. I highly recommend it. You will be shook by it at the end. I guarantee it. Definitely. Fairy tale books. Okay, there's a ton of fairy tale books that I love, some that I don't, but if you want like an all-around awesome fairy tale stories, there's the Aesop Fables, written by Aesop. They're such good books. I remember reading them when I was little, and still right now I really just want like one big book of them. I don't have that, obviously, but like if you've seen the ones from Barnes & Noble, those nice thick books, the Aesop Fables, they're so beautiful, and I want one of those. So they're just little stories about very basic things, but yet have amazing messages through them. So I love those stories. Romance. I am not a big fan of romance novels. I think they're kind of they're okay. I feel like there's so many more interesting things, but the romance novels that I love are the Jane Austen books, like Emma, Pride and Prejudice, my gosh, wow, I can't remember, Persuasion. These are all amazing books, and they are amazing love stories. And if you want, also there's the Jane Austen, pretty much the movie made from her life, and I think it has Anne Hathaway in it. Such a good story too, and pretty much you learn about her and her love story, which was quite tragic actually. So I love her books. I think they're very sweet and have great characters, not like the stories now that kind of just bog me. Like the characters are very one-dimensional, I think I would say. Ooh, hair in my eye. So yeah, but if you really want a good love story, definitely go for the Jane Austen books, because they're beyond great. Science fiction. I love science fiction, and I was really trying to choose one that I haven't mentioned already. And I'm pretty sure I haven't mentioned Ready Player One in one of my books. So Ready Player One is like the dystopian era of where everything is online, and pretty much you're like severely poor outwards, or the guy is severely poor outwards, but you live your life online, and you play. It's not that hard to explain, but it kind of is. But I can't remember all the parts. But it is a really good science fiction book. I think it's very it's slightly different. The ending was something that I expected, but yeah, I would highly recommend it. It is a pretty easy read. It's not that hard, and you can just, it's one book, so you can just kind of delve into it right away and come out. Though it is pretty thick, but I do like that book. Though I haven't read it in a while. I should reread it. But I do recommend Ready Player One. Short stories. I love short stories. I think they're so, I love that they're short, and you could just read them in one sitting and you're done and you got this amazing story. My favorite one, I'm pretty sure I mentioned this one. My favorite one is The Cask of Amontillado by Edgar Allan Poe. Like, I don't know why I like it so much. It's like the one creepy story that I really like, and I have absolutely no idea why. It's so different. Maybe it's like the way they talk and how the characters are. It's just like one simple goal through the whole thing, and I was to kill the dude, like horribly. But I don't know why, but it is really good. And I'm not a big fan of Edgar Allan Poe because of how horrible he was. I mean, he married his 14-year-old cousin, I believe. So that's just creepy on its own, and he was like 30 something. But that story was really good, so I just read it and then tell me what you think, because that book was good. I mean, that story was good. Thrillers. I don't read that many thrillers. I was searching through them and all my books and through books that I read, I'm like, none of them are really thrillers except one, The Da Vinci Code, and that was a really good book. And I'm like, and my thought is just, I need to get into more thrillers. I have one that's called, I think it's The Girl on the Train or something, so I'll probably read that in the next reading list. But The Da Vinci Code is such a good book. And then there's a next one that I haven't read called The Lost Symbol, I believe. So overall, it is a really good story, and I think some people took it way too hard that it was real, because obviously it's not. It's a fiction book, but overall it's a really good story, so you should read it. Young adults. Okay, I do read a lot of young adults, and I chose the one that made me cry the most, and it's actually up there, right here. The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. It's a cute story about this little girl who lives in Germany, I believe. But anyway, she is a little girl who starts stealing books from the mayor of her city because the Nazis were burning them. They didn't want people to read, but her family took in a Jewish man, and that Jewish man taught her how to read, and I thought that was such a sweet thing. And you just go through this little girl's life. I believe she's 12, and I recall crying at the end so much because of it, and when you get to the end you will see why. But it is a slower read, so be aware of that, but it is a really good book, especially now that we have time during quarantine. Definitely read it. Self-help books. I do read a lot of self-help books. These are ones that I really like. So I didn't want to choose just one random one. There's one that I think has like a ton of information that would be helpful to like everyone. There is the 12 Rules of Life by Jordan Peterson, which is amazing. But the one I wanted to point out more was Tools of Titans by Tim Ferriss. That book has like a ton of people. He brought in like a ton of people he asked them questions, and they give you at least like a rundown of how to help you in your life with health, fitness, business, literally anything, mental health, everything. And it is such a great book, and it's massive. It's like this big. It's up there. Ready? That one. Massive book. You won't be able to read it. Like, it's kind of more like a reference book, but it is really, really good. Like, if you need anything, the book is in whatever you need. It has it in the book. It's like the Bible. It's good. Okay. Autobiography. I chose the Autobiography by Benjamin Franklin. I'm not the biggest fan of autobiographies, but you learn from them, and I think that's why they're really good. The Autobiography by Benjamin Franklin is you get such a deep insight into his life and what he thought and what he dreamed and what he believed, and I thought it was really good read. So I do recommend that one autobiography that I have read. The next one is a biography about Lincoln. What was the name of the book? Team of Rivals, and it's about pretty much how President Lincoln started and through how he became president, and it's such a good read. That one is really good, and you learn so much about history in that book, which is something we all need at the moment. So try reading Lincoln. Okay, last one. It's a business/economics book. I had two, but I ended up just choosing one, and it was Crushing It by Gary Vaynerchuk. If you are in the business realm at all, you know who Gary Vaynerchuk is. He is amazing. Like, he pretty much grew his father's wine business to an extraordinary size, and then he quit that job and he started his own company called VaynerMedia, which is pretty much a social media marketing company, to say the least. He gives you the tips that you should use for social media and which ones and how pretty much to perform on those platforms. It is fascinating, such an interesting book, and he has so many other books that he has written, though he technically didn't write them. Someone else wrote them, but it's still his thoughts and his beliefs. So highly recommend those books. Okay, this is already a 15-minute long video, which is insane, but I hope you try reading some of these books and let me know down below what books should I read during quarantine. I do have a reading list already, but I think I'm pretty much almost through it, so I'm gonna need some more books. So let me know, and thank you for watching. Please like this video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell down below, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye guys.